What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined as always by my dad Sean, and today at Reactions to the Classics, we're going to be doing a review to Super Furry Animals, maybe the most intriguing band name we've ever...
yeah, I would say so.
And their 2001 record, Rings Around the World. I want to thank our patron who suggested this, a longtime friend of the channel, Mark. Mark always bringing a nice eclectic mix of tunes, not only for the reviews we do, but for the reactions. And so this was no different, man. This has an interesting little backstory, and we were not familiar with any of these tunes before going in and diving into the research. So before we get into the quick facts though and the track-by-track review, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Helps us out here on our end on YouTube. And if you like what you see today, hit that big red subscribe button. And if you'd like to have us review or react to anything, check out our Patreon page. You can be like Mark and help us continue to churn out the content, and be sure to follow us on Twitch and our social medias down below. All that to say, Dad, let's get into the quick facts here.
Let's do it. It's their fifth album, but their major label debut. Peaked at number 3 in the UK in July of 2001. Most fans and critics consider it their most accessible album. Got a little claim to fame because it's the first album ever released simultaneously on CD at the time and DVD, which we'll dive into in a few minutes. The majority of the songs were written by Gruff, and I'm going to butcher a lot of names here, guys. Rhys on guitar and piano. The band was formed in 1993. They're a Welsh band. They also consist of Hugh Bunford on lead guitar and vocals, Gutto Price on bass guitar, Cian, I got the first name right, but Ciaran on keyboard synthesizer, various electronics, occasional guitar vocals, and David Ewan on drums and vocals. They've recorded 9 top 25 albums in the UK, and according to a 2005 article I was reading in NME, they said they may be the most important band of the last 15 years.
Yeah, and it's always interesting. We got a decent amount of viewers from the Welsh region over here, man. So I just had never heard of them really here in the States at all. So that's why I always like when our patrons bring us something that we're not familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, we're familiar with from the same area of Manic Street Preachers or even Catatonia. And I do need to mention the weird name.
Yeah.
Griff's sister was making some T-shirts for someone and had that on there, and that's how they chose it. So
Super Furry. It sticks out in your head. It's memorable.
I forgot to answer the most obvious question. Most of you have never heard of them had of what in the world. So go on, Trey.
No, so this one they were really kind of ambitious. They wanted to go out and make some better harmonies, I guess, than some of their previous records. So they said they wanted to even make something a little bit more pop accessible, almost the Eagles-esque like in there. And they also wanted to be a bit ambitious, and you can definitely tell that on this record. A lot of diversity in sounds,
big time.
A lot of genres. This maybe has the most, at least sampling, the different samplings of genres than any record we've reviewed this year. There's a little bit of everything here for everybody, but it still kind of keeps those characteristic harmonies that we have on this album. And they kind of went in with that idea. So if you've never listened to this record and you go to listen to it, that's going to be one of the standout things
for sure. Highly critically acclaimed, 86 on Metacritic, 4 out of 5 on Rolling Stone's, 5 out of 5 on Rolling Stone's album guide. Spin gave it a 9 out of 10. NME rated it the 11th best album of 2001, and Mojo rated it as the #1 album of 2001, so quite high acclaim. All songs are written by the Super Furry Animals. That'll take us to our first track, Alternate Route to Vulcan Street. Started out as a jam between Cian and guitarist Hugh. Resulted in this track, they looped a sample of drummer David's playing the bass drum and snare and recorded themselves playing along on piano and guitar into a sampler. Finally, Gruff comes in, writes the lyrics for it afterwards. The first minute 40 is just instrumental, which was interesting to me to start out your album that way with no lyrics.
Setting the mood.
Setting the mood. So in that, it's more atmosphere. The vocals are kind of mixed to the back, and it's more of a... just kind of a vibe. Not necessarily My Bloody Valentine, but not hard like that. But that kind of atmosphere I think they're trying to build, which was like, okay, this is what I think I'm going to get from this album. But this absolutely was not what I was going to get out of this album. This song stands out as being different for me than any other song on the album. So interesting to choose it as the opener. What did you think?
Yeah, it started with those whirling guitars coming in, pretty piano, and then as soon as the lyrics hit, I was looking for the closest tab of LSD because that psychedelic
I'm telling you right now.
influence was so thick, man. Kind of talking about a relationship that was too much, too soon, got a little too involved in a sense here. Wasn't crazy about the lyrics or vocals, but I enjoyed the music. I thought it was just okay. I definitely like a lot more of the songs that we get later on the record, so we're kind of on the same page there. But then we go to the Sidewalk Surfer Girl, and
S-E-R-F,
yeah,
not S-U-R-F.
And I don't know, maybe you're familiar with the term of what sidewalk surfing is. It's skateboarding, but I'd never heard that term before, so that was a bit intriguing here. You had a cool little mash of loud and quiet dynamics with a hard rip that popped up out of nowhere. Had a bit of a chaotic energy to it. I thought it was a definite step up from the opener, and we kind of had a clever line here. I'd do anything to catch you falling. You know, you would think I'd do anything to catch you from falling, but I do anything to catch you falling. You know, that was kind of clever.
And the original context of writing the lyrics was about a woman named Patty White Bull who.
This was wild, yeah.
This is wild. She fell into a coma delivering her fourth baby, and was in a coma for 15 years. So imagine that, you wake up and all your other kids are grown, and you were just last thing you knew, you were giving birth to this baby and your kids were small. First thing she asked for when she woke up was a piece of pizza. That's why it's in the song. Yeah. But then the song would start out that way and then just became a mismatch of different songs that they had written. They kind of threw them all together, but it worked for me sonically. It has nice quiet vocals at the forefront contrasted by the driving guitars and drums at different points. So really did enjoy it. That's going to take us to parentheses drawing and then Rings Around the World. Single went to 28 in the UK. Based on an idea put forward by Gruff's girlfriend and father, and is about, quote, all the rings of communication around the world, all the rings of pollution, radioactivity that goes around. And it has a pop melody mixed with almost a heavy Smashing Pumpkins type guitars, like a Siamese room, which we actually did for Mark last month. And then at the end, it's got almost an electronica type of weird operator talking. So there's a lot of stuff going on inside the song itself. It was one of my favorites.
No, yeah, it kind of was a more harder rocking, and like you, it had that spacey vibe, very British sounding, more so than a lot of the other tracks. I wasn't as big a fan of it as you were. I thought it was just all right. I would have chosen a couple other tunes for singles, but it was at least a little unique, kind of with those phone call things interspersed,
different.
And then that'll take us to another single. We got "It's Not the End of the World," went to number 30 in the UK. And this one, man, was strong. I thought it was really strong. Definitely worthy of that single title.
One of the interesting stories about it, Troy, is the album was nominated for the Mercury Music Prize in 2001. The ceremony took place on the day after the terror attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon. And their performance of this track took on a somewhat bitter edge, obviously, with the title. It's been compared to the Kinks' Waterloo Sunset, Dennis Wilson's Forever. Nice harmonies. It's kind of somewhat about growing old.
No, I thought this was one of the stronger lyrics.
I did too.
Lyrics
I really enjoyed it.
On the set here, because it kind of notes, I'll just read a couple of them here. It says, "We could live at large because we're only old once. Let's make a difference." Conversely, it notes, "Yet as our hair turns gray, everything is far from okay." So just kind of get into that heart of growing old. It's let's enjoy life, but at the same time having to go with your own mortality. Catchy, really, really catchy. Great harmonies here. I thought the strings added a nice touch as well to make this a big hit for me.
I agree 100%. Now we're going to come to a song that you have to really receptacle for the respectable. And wow, do we have a cameo on this one that you would not expect, or I wouldn't expect. Sir Paul McCartney.
No, and what instrument is he playing?
Carrot and celery.
That's right.
That's Carrot and Celery rhythm track. And the story of this is that Paul was alleged to have performed a similar role over 30 years earlier, chewing celery to form the percussion track of the Beach Boys song Vegetables from the album Smiley Smile. The Super Furry Animals had met him at the NME Awards when a drunk Keane persuaded him to let them remix some Beatles material, resulting in 2000's Liverpool Sound Collage album. And they basically just said, we kind of saw how far we could push it. We thought, why not ask? And he did the parts over the over the phone he did his part. They're like, we didn't really need him to play instrumentation. We just wanted him on the track.
No, unique little story here, and
Definitely.
so much going on in the song. Starts as almost like a 60s Beatles era-esque song before going into like a proggy type of a tune here, and then we get a little bit of a saxophone and trumpet in there, again showing the diversity not only on the record but on this one song itself, before finishing off with like a really heavy metal, almost like death metal type gruff vocals, which I wasn't a huge fan of that part. But the rest of the song I thought was pretty strong, and since it was moving kind of so quick from one to the other, it just kind of kept you on your toes, so to speak.
Well, if any song is, you mentioned at the start of this review that this album has so much going on. If any song typifies what that is, it's this song, because it goes everywhere. And then you're going to kind of come off of this into kind of a cleansing track, an instrumental, in parentheses, A, touch sensitive. It has drums, piano, not bad. It contains a sample of Anne by Dave Alexander, Ron Ashton, Scott Ashton, and the great Iggy Pop. I don't really have a lot to say about it.
It kind of reminded me a bit of a Portishead, the little trip hop going in there. Some cool panning effects, man. As you mentioned, Dad, a nice come down from the previous tune.
And then we have, what a title track. Shoot Doris Day. And it, of course, refers to shooting American singer and actress Doris Day with film, a very cinematic reference for a song which Gruff claims is over the top lyrically. It's about how people change, he says. Also references a Labor Party spin doctor, his words, Peter Mandelson, mentioning Victor Panache. Also mentions Jimmy Stewart. Repeats the lines, people don't stay the same. Last verse with animals don't stay the same, so kind of changes up. Pretty chilled. Strings, I thought it was his best vocal performance thus far for Gruff.
No, I put that in my notes. I thought it was very strong vocally here, and that title just grips you right away, because initially you're thinking like shoot Doris Day, not let's shoot Doris Day, but
which is obviously what they wanted.
But yeah, there's a lot of unique titles up in here, man, and again kind of touches on the change that happens in life, and that'll take us now to just short and sweet instrumental, only 40 seconds. Don't have much to add on this one.
That's pretty chill.
Then we'll go to No Sympathy, which is about 7 minutes long here.
It was originally written for a film entitled Plop, which followed 3 unsympathetic characters who lived for a week as though it was their last. Gruff has described it as quite a departure for him as a lyricist, and claimed that in out of context it could appear bleak and scary. Basically, it has no sympathy for them, repeated in various ways. Has a line, "You deserve to die." It's chilled out though, acoustic harmonies. The way they sing that you deserve to die. Did you understand it's from a movie and what that movie's about?
No.
You understand kind of the context of what he was writing it from. Yeah,
it adds some nice background here. So, you had that CSNY with almost like a grungy vocal delivery. I just like the coldness of the lyrics and just how unabashed they are about showing no mercy here. And then, like, towards the latter half of the track, we go into like a techno-inspired...
Yeah, it's very strange.
Which, again, kind of added to a bit of the like bleak and coldness that they were going to.
I enjoyed the first part better than that part.
Did you? I like the techno part, man. I thought that was pretty tight. This is actually one of my favorites.
Really?
So I thought this was a pretty cool track. And then now we're going to go to Juxtaposed with You, which... pulling their prints out here. And this one, man, this one is very well liked by fans, and I can see why, because now we just went from techno and almost grunge and acoustic to now a bit of a soul sample coming up in here.
The biggest hit off here, single, went to 14 in the UK. It addresses social injustice and is about house prices going up, people being left behind by the super rich, and has been described by Gruff as grotesque in its upness and lift. And Gruff ended up duetting with himself. They tried to get some soul singers to come in and do it, but instead they just manipulated his voice. So it is him on there. Repeated a ton in the chorus. You've got to tolerate all those people that you hate. I'm not in love with you, but I won't hold it against you. So I like that part.
It's definitely going to get stuck in your head, man.
It is, for sure. And most of these other songs are not, so it did stand out for that.
And, kind of reminded me, I'm generally not a fan of the vocoder, like, ELO used it occasionally.
Yeah.
But here it was just kind of miss or put together with the that soul sample. It was just so smooth that I couldn't not enjoy the track, man. So those are my thoughts on that one.
Now we'll go to one of my favorite tracks, Presidential Suite. It's got the great John Cale from Velvet Underground on here. He was a sort of childhood hero of Gruff's. He plays piano on the song. They had met him in Cardiff when they'd acted as his backing band for a song which appeared on the film Beautiful Mistake. This song is about former presidents of the United States, Bill Clinton,
that's right,
and of the Soviet Union, Boris Yeltsin. Obviously, Clinton had issues. I'm not going to go into the lyricism in here, but he
dude,
talks
that
about,
first verse was so graphic and descriptive.
It was very descriptive.
I had to chuckle, man.
I did too, talking about Monica Lewinsky, and then Yeltsin mentioning his alcohol abuse. 5.5 minutes long, and just really a pretty good song. One of my favorites on here.
I think it showcases what Super Furry Animals is good at, like progressing their tracks up to that kind of climactic, anthemic, catchy chorus.
Agreed. And you might listen to this right now in 2020 and go, well, I mean, okay, but this was 2001.
Yeah.
So these guys were, very recent and relevant. So a statement song to say, on this album, which there isn't a lot of, they don't delve into that too
You're
much.
right. Yeah, no, that's a good point, Dad. And then we're going to go to Run, Christian Run, which again kind of touches on something a little bit more political-esque. They kind of got inspiration from when they were traveling in the States and would see the kind of televangelist on there. Also took a little inspiration from some of the religious cults that, sprung up through time and just kind of preparing for that doomsday-esque scenario. Has a bit of an alt-country atmosphere, but I thought this one, because this is a really, really long track, I thought it just went to the point of monotony.
Yeah,
on
7 minutes, 20 seconds long.
So if this was like cut in half, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah, and the references to the cults are basically to Jonestown and Heaven's Gate because of the way the lyricism is in there. See, I liked it, even though I thought it was too long. It's still one of my favorites. It had really great harmonies in there. So it's time to finish this thing off, Trey, with Fragile Happiness.
Dude, that's right. And we get some name drops in here. Will Smith had a song called Miami.
Yeah, he drops that in there.
Yeah, and so Will Smith, man, getting the shout out by Super Furry Animals.
Pretty chilled song.
No, definitely. And just kind of a good way to come down, so to speak, from the whirlwind of what we just experienced on the record. That's going to take us to our favorite tracks now. I got Juxtaposed with You. I got It's Not the End of the World. And I'm going to go with No Sympathy.
Well, I've got Silver Surfer Girl, Rings Around the World, It's Not the End of the World, Presidential Suite, and Run, Christian Run. And Trey, that's going to take us to our overall score. What do you got?
I'll let you go first. I've been stealing your thunder lately.
Well, this one's an interesting one to grade because you mentioned at the start, there's not a uniformity. And I don't like albums that all sound the same, right? But this one is everywhere. I mentioned that the opening track, nothing else sounds like it. So it was interesting to open up that way. So as we kind of mix through here, I had several favorites, but I had even issues a little bit with my favorites, like Run, Christian Run is a little bit too long. I really respect their musicianship and their guts to go out and try a bunch of different things. The album didn't exactly work for me. There wasn't any song that I hated, though.
Yeah.
A lot of times you'll come across albums that I'll even give a decently high score to, and there's a song or two that I'm like, There was none of those that I totally disliked on here. I just didn't really feel the vibe. So because of that, now guys, I want to remind you, a lot of the albums we give here are high scores, right? But an average album is a 5. So I just want to remind you of that. So for me, this one is at a 5.5. Trey, what do you got?
Well, I respect the honesty, man. I'm
always honest, and some people respect it, some people blast me. But guys,
you got to be honest,
everything's
man.
not a 9 or a 10. It doesn't mean it's bad.
No, man. I did enjoy the record more than you. I'm going to be coming in at a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
For me, I did think that we maybe could have trimmed off a track or two, or maybe a couple minutes here or there from some songs. It was just too
long. It wasn't necessarily the song itself for me. It was just too long.
But the fact that they did delve into so many different styles, not all of them worked, of course, but I think the majority of them did. It showed how diverse they are musically, being able to pull all that off, and yet still kind of have a bit of a uniformity in their harmonies, especially, and just a little bit of their sound to make it that Super Furry Animals is going to do techno or prog or metal or whatever the case may be. So they definitely kind of wear their influences a little bit, but then they're able to kind of progress that and go in their own direction as well. So I'm going to go a 7 out of 10, as I had already said. And I appreciate you, Mark, bringing it to us.
Definitely. Thank you, Mark.
Always enjoy kind of broadening the horizons here and covering all different types of music at the channel. Appreciate the research, Dad. As always,
fun, man.
A lot of interesting backstories, man. Nothing will top that Paul McCartney celery story.
It will not.
And we, of course, always like to hear from y'all down below. Let us know what your thoughts of this record are and your favorite tracks. And until next time, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Happy listening, and we will see ya.